Today we're talking about corresponding parts of congruent triangles. By definition, if two figures are congruent, all of their corresponding parts are congruent. Therefore, if we know that two triangles are congruent, we also know that their corresponding sides and corresponding angles are congruent. In other words, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. And we will use the abbreviation CPCTC to represent corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, so we're going to start number one by doing a proof. It's going to be exactly like the triangle proofs that we did last time. So last time we would figure out what kind of triangles, why the triangles were the same, and then write the congruent statement. And so first we're going to start with a congruent statement. We have two sides that are the same. We have an angle that's the same, and then I see this reflexive line down the center. And so these two triangles will be the same because we have two sides and an angle in between. So this would be side, angle, side congruency. So let's go ahead and write why these triangles are the same. Okay, so we're going to start with a side. We have a given side right here. PQ is congruent to RS. That is given. Our angle is also given. Angle PQS is congruent to angle RSQ. Now our last side is QS. Now Q goes with now QS is going to go with SQ on the other side. And the reason for that is it is a reflexive line. Now we're going to write our congruency statement. Triangle PRQ is congruent to triangle RSQ. Triangle PQS is congruent to triangle RSQ. That would be because of this property right here, side angle side congruence. Now our last step is we need to show what we're trying to prove. Since these two triangles are exactly the same, the corresponding parts are the same. So the triangles are the same, so PS has to be congruent to RQ. And that is because corresponding parts of congruent triangles have to be congruent. So we can do our side angle side, then our congruency statement, and then at the end we're going to use CPCTC. Let's look at this number 2. We're going to do what we did last time and just kind of talk through why these two triangles are the same. It is given that PQ and RQ are congruent. We have these two sides are the same. I also have a reflexive line down the middle. Now we need three things that are the same to show the triangles are the same. Now M is the midpoint of PR. M is right in the middle, which means that it's cut in half. So these two sides are equal here. So we have three sides of each triangle that are congruent to three sides of the other triangle. So this would be side, side, side congruency. And after we write down all of the reasons for side, side, side congruency, at the very end we'll do the CPCTC. Okay, so let's go ahead and write any extra information that's in the given. We want to use this first piece as one of the sides. So the only thing I'm going to write on that first line is M is the midpoint of PR. And then my second given is I'm going to use as one of my sides. So PQ is congruent to RQ. My second side, I'm going to use this reflexive property. to say that QM is going to be congruent to QM. Now there's no congruency statement to get that from, but if you look, both of these are going to be the same order. RQM, PQM. So QM is congruent to QM by the reflexive property. The last side, we're going to use that definition of midpoint to say that PM is congruent to RM. The last one, we're going to write our congruent statement. We're going to say that triangle PQM is congruent to triangle RQM. And just go in the same order. P goes to Q to M is the same as RQM. And then that would be because of this side congruency. Now, we have shown that the triangles are the same, but it's not asking us to show that the triangles are the same. We're wanting to show angle P is congruent to angle R. And that would be because since the triangles are the same, the corresponding parts of the congruent triangle have to be congruent. The last one is going to be very similar. We want to show that these triangles are congruent. And so we have two right angles right here. We have a reflexive line, and we have two other angles that are the same. So this would be angle, side. Notice that the side is not in between the two angles, so that it's AAS. So we are going to write any given information that's not one of the sides are congruent. So we have this bit right here. So we are going to write given, and then we will have angle, side congruence, and then at the very end we will use our CPCTC. So the first piece of given information is angle ADB and angle CDB are right angles. And then I'm going to use that information to say that angle ADB has to be congruent to angle CDB. And my reason is all right angles are congruent. My next piece would be my other angle, and that's just a part of the given information. Angle A is congruent to angle C. And the reason for that is just given. Okay, now we have our side. We are going to have BD is going to be congruent to BD, and that's by the reflexive property. Now we're going to write that the triangles are the same. Triangle ADB is congruent to triangle CDB, and that is by angle, side congruence. Now, it's not asking us to show the triangles are the same. It is asking us to show that AB is congruent to CB. And since the triangles are the same, the corresponding parts of congruent triangles have to also be the same.